I've never seen so much abuse.
Point of order, Mr. Mayor.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event. Let's get ready to rumble!
Y'all ready for this?
Council has approved. We're beyond that point, but Madam Clerk.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, if this motion is voted down, then a member of council may put a motion on the floor to appoint the other nominated individual into the resolution. Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes, that's correct. Welland City Council needs to make this decision by May 1st. So if needed, we would go around the table numerous times with these two names until we have a successful nominee that comes forward, because we're required under the legislation to have this completed by Saturday.
Okay. Councilor Fawkens.
We've already gone around the table. I am going to stand fast with my original decision. Thank you.
Point of order, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor DiMarco.
Yes, thank you. To the comments by the clerk, Tara, thank you for that explanation in regards to May 1st. But where I see this going is nowhere. So I just want to put that in there, and that's the scenario that we're in now. So I just want to let council know that, and we can drag this, or not drag it on. We can, we have other council business to deal with. We can bring this back and try another time, another place, whatever. Until then, we just proceed with what we have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I'll go to the clerk.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, so in response to Councillor DiMarco's comments, Council approved a process of appointing someone into this position within the recommended time frame as required under the Municipal Act. Now, Councillor DiMarco has referred to no penalty. There is no penalty identified in the Municipal Act, but there is possibility for penalties. In addition to that, it's not that a by-election would not be able to be held. A by-election could be held. It would just be through alternative voting methods such as online and telephone voting. So the municipality has the capability, number one, to conduct their meetings in order for the council to either decide on appointing someone into the position, or for them to approve a bylaw to go forward with a by-election, because there are methods that are available for municipalities to ensure that the by-election can be conducted. As you may recall as well, the town of Pelham actually conducted a by-election during the pandemic as well. So there is no, we have to have this completed by May 1st.
Well, thank you for that, Madam Clerk, but I was told different, so thank you.
Councilor Richard.
Thank you, Mayor Campion. Through you. At this late hour after the vote was taken place, and after we, staff and council, actually decided to open up to the public for transparency, I'm seeing some councillors now declaring that it should automatically go to the third place candidate of the last election. I guess my question is, why did they not oppose it, opening it up to the public at that time, if they're so strong about what should happen now? And by that, I mean claiming the third place position of the last election should stand. I may get the hammer, but it does seem a bit hypocritical. You're supporting opening it up to the public for transparency, but now it's automatically, it should go to the third person. I think that is our issue. We opened it up to the public and we got some wonderful candidates, but I feel we just gave them false hope by making that declaration. After analyzing and took some debating, I found that Doug Thomas has very strong skills to include all, of course, legal, finance, and he seems to be very aware of the Municipal Act.
Councilor Moote.
Thanks, Mayor Campion. So I will be supporting John Mastroianni. Thank you.
Mayor Campion?
Who's calling?
Tony, Councilor DiMarco. Mr. Mayor, I was ahead of I was after Councillor Fawkens, and when I spoke, it was
You were smoking. I thought you'd spoken already.
It was a point of order, Mr. Mayor.
Well, it definitely wasn't a point of order, but,
It was a point of order.
well, it was, but go ahead and speak. That's,
All right, thank you. Thank you for that.
thanks. Councillor Speck?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm disappointed in this entire situation, and I will continue to support Doug Thomas. Thank you.
Well,
Thanks. Councillor Grimaldi?
Thank you, Mayor. Hopefully I can get through this without any critical comments regarding me, because I feel like I need to be doing a point of privilege at this point. I will stand with what I said from the very first day. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Vanvliet?
obviously.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think the biggest disappointment about this whole process and the way it's been done is, yes, we nominated 5 people, and three councillors out there nominated somebody and then turned around and didn't vote for them. And I think, quite frankly, if you want to talk about slapping somebody in the face, that was a slap in the face. I feel I have deepest sympathy for Leslie, Mark, and whoever the third one was, for Jamie Lee. Yeah. I have the deepest sympathy for those people. They were slapped around on public television, and I mean, that's, to me, that is disgraceful. And as far as I'm concerned, I am going to get that list of who nominated who, one way or another, whether I have to get it through the Freedom of Information Act or whether I have to do it through a notice of motion. But I want to know who nominated those people and then turned around and didn't vote for them. Like I said, talk about a slap in the face. That is a slap in the face. And I think it's, we continually talk about the bad face of Welland with expropriating property and everything else. Well, I got to tell you something. That is probably the worst slap in the face that anybody ever got, when you're nominated for something and then the person that nominates you doesn't vote for you. I can tell you right now that I nominated John, and I will continue to support John. And I close it off at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Vanvliet. Councillor Chioccio?
Well, on Councillor Vanvliet's, first of all, I commend Councillor Speck for his, what he had to say. And Councillor Vanvliet says he nominated John, and I'm going to tell you I nominated Doug. And I'll tell you the reasons why. I'm the councillor in Ward 3, fellow councillors, and some of you, part of you people, the councillors, have respected my wishes, and I appreciate that. Yes. It's simple as that. Doug also ran twice before, and I believe Councillor Moote, he did finish third in Ward 1. Don't quote me, but I think he did. So if we're picking third place finishers, so did he. And 19 to say no and not bring a name forward. But what's best for Welland? Period. What's best for Welland right now? Doug's a lawyer downtown with a business, been in business for 30 years. He walks those streets downtown every day. He's got the pulse on the downtown. We need work on our downtown. And Doug's going to help. He knows. He knows. He sees. He knows what's happening down there. He's got great ideas. Doug's a kayaker. He's on the water. I've been to concerts, and some of my fellow councillors have been at the concerts. Doug's in his kayak on a boat watching the concert from the kayak. He knows about the recreational waterway. He knows about the Flatwater Center. He knows about rowing. He knows he's a cyclist. He knows about the cycling routes around Niagara and in Welland. He's going to help bring cyclists on tours downtown and have them stop at the restaurants and drink beer and have something to eat. He knows about policies and procedures. He's going to help us going through the next year's budget. If you want to think about someone like a free agent coming in the 9th inning as a relief pitcher for the rest of the 18 months, and we were a team and we had to say, hey, who's best for Welland today for the next 18 months? and who's got some of the qualities. And I've struggled with this. I've worked with John Mastroianni here in Ward 3 together. We know a lot of the same people. It's not easy. If it was easy for me, I would say John Mastroianni. If it was what's right for Chioccio, I would say John. If it was right, if I was thinking politically, that would be the easy solution. And I stuck my neck out and putting Doug's name in. So nobody's asked me. Some of the councillors have, and I appreciate them. And I'll tell you, believe me when I say why Doug is his choice right now. I have respect for Mr. Mastroianni, and the work he's done for Welland. And I appreciate the service. But at this point, if it's a by-election, I was never in favor of it. But if we're going to be deadlocked, then let the 16, 19, 30 people, maybe there's another name out there who may put their name forward. Let the residents of Ward 3 choose. Please.
I'm hopeful this evening we can come to a decisive decision on one candidate. I cannot support anyone other than the third place finisher.
Mayor, I know Doug personally. I think he's a fine gentleman, very capable lawyer. But the facts are that he did not run in Ward 3 last election. A vote for Doug would be a vote for the taxpayers of Welland to essentially waste $50,000 in a by-election during a pandemic.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Moote.
Sorry, Mayor Campion, I think I was next.
Our list shows Councillor Moote.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, Councillor Moote.
And lastly, I just want to make the comment that if any of us were the third place runner-up, you too would be expected to fill that seat if the opportunity came up. So I'll leave with that. I'm still in support of John Mastroianni.
Thank you. Councillor Fawkens.
So I find it a little off balance because I know how some councillors voted, and they voted for that person. So I ask that we also take a look at why we did that in 2000 and the last term versus why we're doing it now. So just ask those councillors search. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor. Councillor DiMarco.
Yes, thank you for that. I've never seen so much abuse.
Point of order, Mr. Mayor.
I call it and Councillor McLeod.
Point of order, Councillor.
I'm tired of your grandstanding, okay?
Sorry, I just had to hear point of order, Councillor DiMarco. Councillor.
Councillor is not speaking in motion. The motion is to appoint Doug Thomas.
Yeah, okay. Well, everybody spoke on everything, and I'm doing the same.
Councillor McLeod, I'm going to remind Councillor DiMarco to please stay on topic and speak specifically to the appointment of Doug Thomas, not about how people are voting and how it's split and all that stuff. To the point.
Mr. Mayor, I'm trying to state this is why you expect this council to decide on one person. I would love to.
Councillor, if you'd love to, there are ways to do that. So continue.
But it's guess what? Interrupt me some more, Mr. Mayor. It's not going to happen. I got Doug Thomas with a 6-6 vote. The way that it went about, the mayor, Mr. Mayor, you should not have voted. I'm sorry. That's procedure. Recorded vote we've abused this whole entire term. And that was only to break a tie.
Councillor, I have to take exception to that because the mayor is required to vote when there is a recorded vote. It's in our procedural bylaw. It's not an option.
Have you ever seen my first 8 years, there was not a total of recorded votes to what we've had this first
Councillor DiMarco, would you please stop and get back on the topic of why you support Doug Thomas or why you support former Councillor Mastroianni?
I'm on the topic of why we can't.
I'd like you to stay on the topic of do you support Doug Thomas or do you support Councillor
Mastroianni? I'm speaking. I know who I'm voting for is Doug Thomas. So
Good.
you know.
Somebody had a point of order out there somewhere.
Vote, please.
Okay. Councillor Chioccio.
Yeah, one more time, I guess. So, just to correct a couple of things, Councillor Moote, I did say 2014 is the last time he, Mr. Thomas, well, I'm sorry if I apologize, it was 2014, the last time he ran was 2014 and finished third. So that's one point. And Councillor McLeod was very eloquently saying about the 15 emails that he got and we got, I believe, as a group. I'm not sure how many of them are Ward 3 because I only recognized 2 or 3 names on that, and they could have came from everybody in this city. And if somebody were to ask me how many emails I got personally or phone calls, if my phone was ringing off the hook in support of Councillor Mastroianni, or if I was barraged by a bunch of emails in support of that, I would say no, contrary to that. So, you know, when I weigh the facts and weigh what's best, and with all due respect to everybody, my position and my job as not the leader of this community or the city, is to think who is the best person of the 2 nominees. Who is the best to help the city of Welland go forward over the next 18 months? Doesn't finish third, second, first, 10 votes behind me or 1 vote behind me. Who's the best person? And I'll speak directly to the residents of Ward 3 and the residents of Welland. The best person right now for the city of Welland is Doug Thomas, hands down. And if it isn't Doug, and there is a tied vote, then, you know, whoever would like to run is welcome to do so. And then the residents of the ward will choose. That's the democratic way. So I will stick with Doug and look forward to the vote. Thank you.
Councillor Vanvliet.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to clarify something that Councillor Fawkens came up with, and that's that in the 2014-2018 term, there were two councillors that left, shall we say. And yes, we did not take the 4th runner-up in the second round, but I just want to make it very clear that I nominated Mark Zugan in that one, and the only reason I didn't vote for him is because I happened to be on my regular summer vacation in PEI at the time. That's the only reason. But I got to tell you right now, I would have supported Mark Zugan at the time because I nominated him. Not like some people nominate somebody and then turn around and don't vote for him.
Personal point of privilege, Mr. Mayor.
What does this have to do with it, Mr. Mayor?
Personal privilege?
Yes, I take exception to Councillor Vanvliet trying to sort of zero in on this little nitpick that he has about if you nominated him, you have to vote for him. It's a slap in the face.
Councillor, I think it was a fair comment. I don't think that it was insulting at all. I think it was just a statement of fact.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It also has to do with the tone and the accusatory nature of his remarks. But then again, it's only your opinion that counts, so thank you.
Well, my opinion on this counts to the degree that I found that the comment was a fair comment. I didn't see any inflection or tone there that was insulting any more than any other councillor would use expressing. So I've got Councillor McLeod now.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I will simply remind my fellow councillors we are in the middle of a pandemic, and that a vote for anyone other than the 3rd place finisher is a vote, potentially a by-election vote, in the middle of a pandemic. And so I encourage you to not vote in favor of Doug Thomas and get together and vote for the 3rd place finisher, move on, make our council whole, and not put our citizens through this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McLeod.
He comes in glasses on, mask on.
All right, well, we have no further speakers, and a recorded vote had been requested at the beginning of this conversation. So my comments are pretty straightforward. We need to avoid a by-election at all cost. It's just not the right thing to do right now. It is not fair to the residents of Ward 3 to put them through that in a pandemic situation. It's also not fair to the candidates who have no ability to campaign in a personal manner. I am supporting John Mastroianni for one simple reason, and that is, well, a couple of simple reasons, but mainly because precedent had been set. Now, when we talk about the fourth place finisher, I'm speaking about 1, 2, 3, not 4, 5, 6. So the precedent has been set that the third place winner in the event of a vacancy would be filled by the person that came in third.
Point of order.
What's the point of order?
I'm sorry, Mr. Bell. We didn't always do that in the past. 2017, Mike Belcastro wasn't even.
Okay, that's not a point of order. Now you're debating with my comment, Councillor. I thought I explained that a point of order would be something that is not procedurally correct.
Mayor Campion, I respect you're saying that it's precedent, but this council.
Councillor, you're debating my comments. It's not a point of order. Well, I don't know how many times I can say the same thing. Look at our procedural bylaw and tell me what is incorrect with the procedure. That would be the point of order. That's why they put the word order in it, because it's something is wrong with the order of your business.
Personal privilege. You're trying to say it's not precedent, because in 2017 you were on council and so was I. You were the mayor.
That's not even a point of privilege. I'm not insulting anybody. I'm not saying anything that is incorrect.
But it's not precedent.
Would you please let me finish my comments? You're just trying to debate my comments. That you're out of order. You can't do that.
Point of order, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, point of privilege, Councillor McLeod.
I have a point of order.
Sorry, point of order, yeah.
Yes, the councillor interrupted you during your comments. Could you please start from the beginning, because I was listening?
Okay, so just to continue on, or to start.
That's so well said. That's the world we live in. That's the world we live in. When I said it though, I would have to go back and be a stickler about my words, and I would just go back to how I said that we live in a customer.
Right, we also live in the East Word.
That's the entitled reference, and I'm glad we agree on that.
I didn't agree with Trump because people say, why? He was a good but let's put it this way. If America first, make America great and make America first, in what context? First in the world or first as a whole nation?
Well, we are unable to get to Councillor Richard. She's not answering her phone and she's not replying to texts. So we will have to reconvene. I called a 5-minute recess. So we are back. Oh, there we are. Okay. Thank you, Councillor. So we're back. At this point, I would entertain a motion from council to put one of those names forward again, if they wish to do so, and see if anybody's changed their mind over the 5-minute break. So, Councillor Moote, would you like to move?
Thanks, Mayor Campion. Can I put John Mastroianni's name forward again?
Sure. Seconder for that. Seconded by Councillor Grimaldi. So, Councillor Moote.
I've said all I need to say. Thank you, Mayor Campion.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak? Councillor McLeod. Councillor McLeod? Councillor McLeod has asked for a recorded vote. Did you want to speak as well, Councillor? Go ahead.
Just that I hope we will have a successful vote. Thank you.
Councillor Fawkens?
Mr. Mayor, is this the only option that we have?
That is correct. Based on our procedure that we approved, this is where we're at.
Okay, thank you. Could we amend the procedure?
Nope. We've already approved the procedure and are at the end of the procedure. We have to complete that. Councillor Fawkens?
Okay, thank you. So then, all right. And for the people that I know we are split, and it is not one side or the other that is going to cause a by-election. We're all equally responsible. Thank you.
Councillor Speck, you have a point of order?
Yes, you just stated in response to Councillor Fawkens that there were no other options that we could not amend. My question is, and you added to that until seeing this through. And we've taken a vote with Doug Thomas's name in the spot. We've taken a vote with John's name on the spot. The point is that we've seen either option through. Haven't we completely seen through? And I am open to new suggestions, but we have seen through both options of the only two nominations that received any votes. We've seen that through. Both names have been put down. Both names have been tie votes. So in essence, what I'm saying is I'm trying to be productive here. We have seen this through. I emailed the clerk during our recess. Maybe she could respond to my email and we can bring that to the floor. But,
you're way out of the point of order position here, Councillor.
The point being...
Again, I will remind you, this point of order has to do with the order of the business. So
I'm predicting you have we process through by inserting both names and voting on both names. To Councillor Fawkens' point, have we not seen that motion through in the two different ways? Now we're just repeating ourselves.
Well, not necessarily, because we can continue to do this for a long time, because someone may change their mind. Someone may get a phone call from somebody. Somebody may see something on social media. Somebody may hear from their constituents. The conclusion of the process that has been approved by council is a by-election. So I believe that it's in everyone's best interest to avoid that and to see if we can resolve this issue amongst ourselves. And so there is a motion on the floor, and we are going to continue with that.
Mr. Mayor, point of order?
Okay, give it a try.
You mentioned that we receive a phone call, social media. I believe we're not supposed to be taking any of that during a council meeting.
You're not.
Okay.
Not.
But you had just said you're hoping that somebody will get a phone call or a text or social media.
You're not supposed to, which most of you do, or some of you do anyway. I'm precluding that we're not going to get anywhere this evening. So you'll hear my next comment after we deal with this motion.
So we have phone calls or text or social media.
You'll see. Yeah, if somebody heard something while they were, then that's why we took the break, in case somebody got email, text, who knows what. Okay, Councillor DiMarco.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just like to reiterate, I understand how we can end this tonight, but keep on going until whenever, that the May 1st deadline is not, there's no penalty, and we can continue on until we have, we can finally decide on something. And also, Mr. Mayor, you've spoken, you've spoken about the people voted for this one, people voted for that one, and people wanted, others mentioned the same thing, I know I received about 1,100 votes. Mr. Mayor, you got about 10,000 votes. And you're mentioning that, someone needs to change their mind. You represent the entire city of Welland. So why is it not that you won't change your mind?
Because they believe they have the moral high ground.
Pardon?
If that's a question, the answer is because I firmly believe that I'm making the right decision for the entire population.
Yeah, but you really have stressed about not wanting a by-election. And Do you think, like, what would be the difference between one candidate or the other candidate being on council? What's your opinion on that?
Councillor, I already expressed all of that, but just...
No.
I expressed it just before we took the vote.
I would like to... I'm figuring out all of that, but I've asked, hey, it'd be a lot easier if the head of council change your mind.
It'd be a lot easier for any member of council to change their mind.
No, Mr.
I'm a human just like everybody else. I have my opinions and I have my preferences, and any member of council can change their mind.
I know.
And I'd like to express one thing that I think some councillors maybe miss sometimes, because I see some emails going through. They look at council slightly different than what it really is. So members of council are equal. There are currently 11 councillors and one mayor that make up the 12 members of council. So my vote, I have one vote. We all have the same number of votes, one. It's written in the Municipal Act. Each member shall have one vote. So from that perspective, we are all equals. So it's up to councillors to, you can say, oh, it's easier for the mayor to change them. It's easier for, how is it easier? It's not. It's the same thing. So I've answered your question.
Yeah, that was just my opinion. It'll be a lot easier. But anyways, did you mention, is there a motion on the floor now?
Yes, there is.
What's the motion on the floor?
The motion is to appoint John Mastroianni.
Okay, I'm sorry. Councillor Moote, I think, brought that up, if I'm correct. Okay, thank you.
That's right.
Okay, can't amend it, so, all right, we'll let others speak, but just, trying to find a way out, but...
Well, it's 1:40 a.m., and that's the best I could do on my ham sandwich cell phone. I'm sorry, but that's all, folks. We'll try again, and maybe council and myself, we'll get this all right another time. Learning curve, right? Cheers.